Now that we're done with building 1 and 2, we have to take into consideration how to do this middle part here. Remember that vanishing point line that we were talking about originally is still going to come in play when making the tops and bottoms of your roof. So just keep that in mind. And the sides of your roof, or the building that's in between structure 1 and 2, is going to be a straight vertical line. It's going to be a very tiny little sliver because structure number 2 that we just finished is covering part of it. Now, the bottom of structure number 2 and this third building that we're kind of squeezing in here, that is going to have on the bottom a line that goes towards your secondary vanishing point. This is where your sidewalk wraps around building number 1 and goes between building 2 and 3 and building number 1 in the back here. You almost kind of have like a little bit of an alleyway. Building number 4 that I'm working on right now is going to be a strict horizontal on top and bottom because that part is literally facing the viewer. Moving forward, any windows that are facing away from you are going to go towards the vanishing point, and any windows facing towards you, front on, are going to be a flat geometric shape. Get kind of crafty here and start adding the brush and the forest that are behind your structures. It will really help bring out your structures and bring them more towards the front. It'll give you the foreground, midground, background element here that will create a sense of three-dimensional illusion. It'll make your space look a lot more three-dimensional. Moving forward, we are going to start working on the roof part of our cathedral here. Now this roof part, or kind of like this alleyway that's connected to the top of our cathedral, is facing us head on. So we're going to be using some horizontal lines for top and bottom. I'm going to extend it out because my picture's cut off. So it might not look entirely like the picture, but that's okay. Before we forget, let's take time to shade in what needs to be shaded in this middle part here. We want to make sure that we have a nice strong roof, and we want to make sure that we have a nice strong set of windows wherever they may need to be. Now, right now, I am trying to figure out where I am going to be putting the vanishing line for my my sidewalk or my alleyway here. So that is what I'm doing right now. And it looks like the vanishing point is somewhere near my middle building here in the alleyway. So bear with me here. I'm getting the top and the bottom. So we got at least 3 different vanishing points that are going into this artwork here. So we got to be super careful to shift our line accordingly. As you can tell, my bottom here is just slightly off. It's really easy to make this mistake. So just try to double check your work before moving forward with all your details. We're going to do the same thing here with the lip of our wall, or the top part or top face area of our wall. It's super important that we do that. Now actually this is the side, this is the border piece. We're going to do the top next, okay? This is the side that's facing away from the viewer that goes along the side of the wall. If you think like a little block of concrete and how it has an edge to it, this is your edging to the side of your wall. Very little of your end piece here near your cathedral, very little of your wall is showing here. That's because you have this huge red, very flowery decorative bush. So since I have more paper and more room, I'm going to bring that flowery bush a little bit down to reveal a little bit of the edge of my wall. And I'm going to use a set of scribbly lines to install this bush on top of the structure of my wall. You're also going to want to remember that part of this bush overhangs and falls down towards the bottom of your wall because it's kind of like a sprawling bush or sprawling flowery or an ornamental piece of plant work. So don't forget to have it hang over the edge. Now I want my edging to kind of separate a little bit from the wall itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some shading here. I'm also going to add some shading to building number 1 to give it some texture. I'm also going to put some of that shading down onto the ground for my alleyway. And for these 2 types of shading, I am using a side diagonal hatch. I might add 2 layers of side diagonal hatch to the wall that's facing away from the viewer, just to get it to pop away from the alleyway. Now, I just extended a horizontal line for just underneath the bush to kind of emphasize the top of my wall. It's not the same in the picture, but you got to remember I have more room in here than I do in the picture. Now for the roofing of my chapel and my other buildings, I'm probably going to do a horizontal hatch to kind of make it look as if they're moving in different directions and following the movement of the eye. If you are comfortable, feel free to add smaller details to your artwork. And I would also do probably 2 layers of side diagonal hatch or smudge work to your trees. But I would keep your chapel super, super light. Anything that's facing you, I would do a horizontal hatch. And anything facing away from you, I would do a side diagonal hatch.